Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. Thanks to Scotty again, we have this very nice breakdown where you can get free, approximately how many Prizewall coins you can get. Of course, it's boss, so there's a lot of RNG if your faction gets to the final bag. But we'll break it down pretty well for you here. And so Scott, again, super appreciated that you do this, Scott. It's really helpful. So let's go into the contest. It should be live now. Yeah, here we go. So you got the faction competition part, 15 milestones. If your faction gets the bonus one, you get this. The least you can do is 5,000. You can get up to 40,000. This contest bag has been huge. You really want your faction to get here. It makes a massive difference. So that's worth noting. Along the way, you don't miss a ton of other amazing stuff in the bonus milestones, although a couple tier 6 medals is of course nice, some straps and stuff, etc. But you're not missing solo points or Kamala shards. So it's either want to get, I mean, like, this is much easier obviously to get. In fact, it's 5 times easier to get than this. But if your faction gets this, it makes a huge difference. So that's kind of the faction one. As for the solo contest, kind of pretty standard for how boss is now. Your bonus points are basically just pulls, and then you have 3 choices of possible. If you get Kamala, you can get a 2.25 million more, which is a ton. Drew is a little bit at 200,000, and Bundy's a little bit at 175,000 bonus. So really not that big a deal. You're not getting very far unless you're doing a lot of spending. And at 12,500 points a loot pull, I'm assuming a mega is 40 times 12,500 is a whopping 500,000 points. So you're not going to get very far very fast in the bonus milestones with megas and pulls and such like that, right? But you can see if you do get a little ways, right, the bonus milestones, that's just coin, Bundy shards and coin, like nothing great there. You don't get any currency until 10.5, and there's 2,000 there, and then 3,500 at 10.9, and then you got this bigger stretch here for 5,000, right? And this 15, the cost to get here is like astronomical, and even here. So yeah, you're basically, that's why you need the faction RNG bag. Long story short, you need the faction RNG bag to go your way, pretty much. So that's kind of boss in a nutshell. That's been normal. It's very hit or miss. It's very dependent on if your faction gets the bag. Spending is kind of brutal. Although I think they're doing something with him, like it's $100 offer 3 days in a row or something, guarantees his recruit. I could be wrong about that, but 300 bucks, yeah, that's way too expensive, in my opinion, right? Like if you're a whale, that's cool, that's fine. You probably don't mind. $300 is probably super reasonable for you compared to what you sometimes spend. For me, it's insane, and he would have to be like a ridiculous one. And right now where I'm at, I don't need anything, so yeah, not it for me. So tours, 5.6 million points and change. We talked about Kamala, Drew, and King Kong Bundy for your little bit of bonus. Faction gives you 4.7 million. Free portal claims gives you 300,000. So free with no CSS. That's assuming obviously you get all your tours done. 10.2 million. Free with just Bundy, 10.4. And as we talked about it in the free milestones, or the bonus milestones, that 10, you don't get any bonus medallions till 10.5. So you're not getting this 10.5 unless you have Bundy and you do a little spend, right? So now that we have that covered, right, the amount of your Prizewall coins is 1,000 free, 3,700 free in the solo, bonus solo free-ish, up to 10.5. That's the one we just talked about. You'd be doing a little spend, which is 1 loot coin, and the Bundy CSS. That's 2,000 bonus. So faction event, that's your rank in the faction event. So you may or may not, you know, my faction, we're probably gonna be here or here for me. So I can kind of safely count on like 3,000 Most people can probably safely count on like 2,000, right? So you can kind of factor that in. Um, so, and then you get that RNG bag if your faction maxes, which, you know, I don't know how many factions max, maybe 50-ish, give or take, I'm assuming. I don't know. 40, 30, but that plays a big part. So free-ish, you're looking at 6,700 plus your faction leaderboard. So for most people, let's say like 2,000, that puts you to 8,700. And then if you get the leaderboard bag, another 5K, right? So, you know, depending where your faction finishes, and if you get that bag, you're probably looking at a minimum of 11,700 if your faction gets the bag. If not, it's a more of a struggle. And of course, if you hit the lottery from the bag, now you're potentially getting a big prize, right? So now let's look at the prize wall, and we'll kind of break it down. So, if you hit the lottery, right, you can get either this new plate whenever you activate a blue move, and it's a primary plate. Increase your blue move damage by 100% for 2 total turns. So I'm sure there's some people this will be really good on, but the damage percent isn't huge without probably doing a lot of clicks, and it's very expensive. The Yeet plate and It's a Trap blow it out of the way in the same price bracket. So if you get to that 30K mark, you know, 32K mark for that, I would highly suggest one of these two, right? These two are game-changing plates on quite a few different people. So like this bracket I love. If you got enough Yeet plates, okay. I have like 3 or 4, 3 I think, maybe 4. And I have one It's a Trap. If I get to 30K, you know, 32K, I'm taking It's a Trap all the way. I love the price value here. It's a great plate. There's a ton of people it's good on, and it's game-changing on. So I love that. The next kind of bracket is that 20K-ish range, right? Timeless Style, in my opinion, is probably the play here. There may be a few exceptions, like if you really want to use Rhea's Reinforce or Maxine's Reinforce or Asuka's Reinforce build, then maybe you go that route. I tend to not like Reinforce because you got to break the board twice. You know what I mean? But these are all solid options, but I would probably lean towards Timeless Style. It's great on Lyra, for example. If you don't want to use Yeet plate on Lyra, you can use Timeless Style. A lot of people like it on like Seth, the new gen Seth, the Revolutionary. So there's that. Red Reinforcement, Vader. It's good on, and it's also good on Showboat Seth. So need to make sure and call that out. Red is another really good option if you want to go that route. Like Showboat Vader and Showboat Seth. So that's kind of there. I think really this is if you get to this range, kind of like a roster pick, like what you like, what you're looking for. I would lean towards Timeless Style if I didn't have any of them. But these three are all sort of equal. They all have decent spots. You can put them now that they buff them to 200%. So there's that. May Crown is pretty nice. Hard Times is pretty nice. This doesn't add extra time. It's really good on like Showboat Asuka. It's really good on Acro Rhea, to name a few. Those that come to mind right away. I really like Total Silence at this price range. At 7,800, I think that's a good price. Not really big on the botch plates, so not big on that. Down the Rabbit Hole is actually really good on Acro Macho, surprisingly good. So I like this value here too. Cowabunga combos amazingly with May's Crown, because yellow sets them both off and it gives you a bunch of greens on the board. It basically makes like a green Royal Rumble plate at a discount, those two in combination. So kind of like the Cowabunga, it's really good pricing. So that's worth noting. Shards, right? If you don't have Bliss, I mean, that's really good pricing and she's very solid. 6-star bronze Tiffy time. Man, do I hope my free-to-play can get here. This would be game-changing. So I love, this was my gripe on a Prizewall a little while back for a newer player to the game. This kind of thing is awesome. So I love this on the Prizewall. So I'm especially going to call this out. Love, love, love this for newer accounts. Gives you a 6-star, somebody that can do a bunch of stuff for you. So that's great. Actually, the shard pricing in general, to be honest, is fantastic. Mommy shards, 9,700, right? Like, you know, that's within the range that a lot of people potentially are going to get there. Punk a little bit higher, but still not bad pricing. It's not this like ridiculous 500 shards for an insane amount. Gunther shards, really great price. Well, I think the shard pricing is fantastic across the board. I don't have an issue with any of these shards or Tiffy time, whatever helps your roster more, whoever you like more. I think the pricing is great, to be honest. So big fan of that. I hate the strap pricing as normal. I would stay away from those completely. Get plates, get characters, and I hate the econ, right? There's no reason to get this. This is leftover stuff. So it's not even worth shouting out, right? So overall, I think the thing I like about this Prizewall is there's a lot of stuff at different ranges. If you're a Mega Whale, okay, there's a new plate, you don't have it, so you can get a new plate, you know. Yeet has got so many people it's good on, and it's a trap, so that's great. Then you get this next price range, Prizewall range, where you have all of these plates, and they're kind of similarish in what they do. And then you even get some useful plates at the the middle tiers here, like a Total Silence, Hard Times, May Crown, and then even these are all really, like Cowabunga at this price range is great. And down the rabbit hole. So it's just a really solid Prizewall. So you can kind of pick what you don't have. I would try and focus on like what you don't have or you don't have much of. Like one Yeet plate, you definitely want a second. It's a trap, you would want a second, or obviously a first. Purple Royal Rumble, I'm not huge on, like, to be honest, but if there's somebody you want it on, okay, go for it. I hate the pricing on the metals. Stay away from that, in my opinion. So yeah, just in general, really good Prizewall. And if a lot of people are getting to that 11,700 free-ish, you should at least come out of here with something. Whether it's some Mommy shards, some Gunther shards, a Total Silence plate, you know, and then if your faction hits, maybe you're talking like I really am focusing on trying to get It's a Trap. That's what I would love to get. That would make my day, to be honest. And then Yeet plate, right? So overall, I think it's a pretty good Prizewall, but do keep in mind, like, if you're somebody that likes to value spend, other than getting to that 10.5 million mark, depending on what the offers are, you'd have to look on the portal, like what you get for bonus spend and stuff. Once you get to that mark, it's going to be really hard to go up much more. It's going to require a lot more spending, right? And so let's say you get 10.5. The next milestone is almost 400,000 away. You're probably looking at having to spend close to $100 to get 3,500 more medallions, right? So, you know, this is one of those where if RNG is kind to you, you probably come away with something really, really good. If you get close, maybe not as much. You just have to take the next thing down or do a much bigger spend, right, to get there, likely. So just keep that in mind. Don't just willy-nilly spend. Don't rush it. See where you get. See what you get from the RNG bag. Don't forget the faction leaderboards come in a little bit later. I don't know how many times I've heard someone say, I spent to get the points and I forgot that we get the faction rewards in later, right? Those come in a little bit later, so make sure and factor that in. And don't be one of those people that your faction's sitting in like 9th place and you count on them getting 3,500 to get what you want, and then your faction drops and you get 3,000, right? So don't just pre-plan on the low safe end as opposed to the high end, right? So thanks again to Scotty for the breakdown. Great job as always. Hope you guys find this helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Your feedback is super important to me on these too, because I'm trying to look at it from like my point of view, my free-to-play point of view, and also the bulk of players' point of view. So the more feedback you guys give me, the more I can hopefully tailor these to work for everybody and be helpful for everybody. So thanks for the support, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend. Yeah. Good luck out there. No, you should also like, subscribe, and share, because that really helps me out.